How are you?
Pretty good. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Card.
Approval of the agenda?
Technically, you approve, oh, yeah, if there's not any proposed changes, yeah,
No, I did.
yeah, unless, yeah, especially tonight, no one can add stuff.
Us three, and then we have two virtuals.
We're missing Andy still,
Okay.
but we have Melissa.
Gotcha. Hi, Melissa.
Hey, everyone.
We've got Thad.
Did anyone hear from Andy?
You should be attending.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
That's the weirdest thing. That's the weirdest thing.
Got Dylan's audio.
What?
You're not muted. Veronica, I'm making you host.
Everyone okay with 5 after we get going?
Did you get in touch with Andy?
I have not.
I will
just gonna-
text him.
Yeah.
Andy will not be joining us.
Got it. Thanks for that.
Yep.
Great. With that said, Welcome everyone to a work session of Frisco Town Council for August 24th. And with that, let's kick it off with a roll call.
Martinson, absent. Aronson. Burley, absent. Fallon.
Here.
Held, absent. Incan.
Here.
Sherburne. Here. Thank you.
And our first agenda item tonight in our work session is going to be a High Country Conservation Center program overview.
Hi, everyone. I just wanted to introduce myself really quickly. I'm Hillary Suoyoka, the new Environmental Programs Coordinator. And now I'd like to hand it off to Jess and Jen from HC3. Okay, good evening, everyone.
You ready for it?
Yep, I am ready for
Okay.
it. Thank you. I'm
Sure.
glad you're controlling it.
Yep. There you go. You're controlling it.
Awesome. Here we go. Okay. Well, hi, everyone. I am Jess Hoover, Climate Action Director for the HC3. I am joined by my esteemed colleague and our fearless leader, Jen Shank, our Executive Director. And we are here to talk to you tonight about our progress in 2021 so far. We came back earlier in the spring to talk to you about our 2020 results, and those are in your council packet. But I just kind of wanted to highlight some things we have been working on this year. Starting with climate action. So this year, again, for the third year in a row, we ran our Solarize Summit bulk purchase program for solar panels. We had 10 rebates available to citizens of Town of Frisco, and we had 10 Frisco residents gobble them up, really excited for over 60 kilowatts installed in Town of Frisco that year or this year, which is a little more than 10% of the size of one of the Breckenridge Solar Gardens, if you can picture one of those in your head. So really exciting. Happy to see Frisco residents still participating in this program and taking advantage of the rebates that you also generously provide. As you all know, you adopted our EV readiness plan earlier this summer too. Thank you. We are hitting the ground running with adoption, starting with 2 events this fall. The first one, we would love to have you come join us Wednesday, September 22nd, right here at your own Frisco Adventure Park in the parking lots right across from the Day Lodge. We are super excited because this year, for the first time for these events, we have dealers bringing EVs that people can come and test drive so that they actually get behind the wheel of one of them and realize it is not some fancy Jetsons car. It is just like any other car. It just runs on electrons instead of gasoline. So for sure, we know that we're going to have a Chevy Bolt, a Nissan Leaf, and a VW ID4. We're trying to get a Rivian too. So that could be really exciting. Yes.
Did you get your car?
Not yet. No. So yes, the VW ID4 we are getting is a rear-wheel drive model. Jesse and I have both waiting to purchase the all-wheel drive. They tell us September, October. I have a feeling it's going to be later than that, but we'll see. I'm sure we will let you know as soon as that happens. Yeah, so would love to have anyone who's interested come out and join us, take advantage, drive those cars. We're also inviting EV drivers from across the county to be there and bring their cars too, so people can ask them all their burning questions like, can I really drive this on an unpaved road in the wintertime? You know, what is it like? What's my range like in the winter? All that good stuff. So that's really exciting. Building codes. We are putting together another round of training for local builders about the building codes. We're working with the Colorado Energy Office on that. Nothing has been confirmed yet, but we have, we're working on 2 workshops for this fall and winter, with more coming in 2022. So stay tuned on that. Also, we are working with staff on the renewable energy program that we're hoping to come present to you all later this fall and winter. And that's a program that would require on-site renewable energy offsets for very large uses of energy outside, like excessive snow melt or large commercial pools, hot tubs, things like that that are heated outside. It's a lot of natural gas use, and we would like to see people offset that with renewable energy. All this year, we worked on a program that would, a pilot program for commercial buildings to report their energy use. And we had participation from Town of Frisco for Town Hall and the Public Works Building. Gilly was working with us on that project. Our stakeholder group has since decided to table it for the time being because this summer, the state, or earlier in the spring, the state passed a law that would require energy reporting for all buildings in the state over 50,000 square feet. So we want to see how the state's program rolls out and kind of let them work out the kinks before we pursue anything here. And then we also want to look at different lower cost options for our community to see what we could do maybe from a policy side perspective. Finally, we are working on our 3-year update of our greenhouse gas emissions inventory. It is nearly ready to be finished. We're just waiting on Excel to finalize its data from 2020. And we also, thanks to questions that you all raised previously, we did an analysis with a consultant this year looking at climate action strategies, greenhouse gas emissions reduction strategies, and figuring out which are the most impactful for our community. And then what we found is that there's a lot of progress that we can make that's really low cost implementation, really from the policy side, that really is going to drive the sharpest reduction in emissions. And so one of the things that you all had brought up to us was perhaps requiring energy audits for all short-term rental applications. And that's something that we're looking forward to pursuing with staff in 2022. In addition to some of the other major reducers of emissions, which is like taking these building codes further. By 2030, we're not trying to do anything right away. I don't think the building community would appreciate that. But what's our plan to 2030? And that will see some really significant reductions. So what are we looking ahead for in 2022? We applied for an environmental justice grant from the EPA to do a climate equity plan, to reach out to Summit County's underserved community and figure out what does it take for them to participate in programs? How do we need to adapt our programs to increase participation and help them not only meet their own needs, but also achieve some carbon reduction? And we should find out next month if we got that grant. And even if we don't get it, we're planning on doing something similar, but on a smaller scale. We're going to continue our EV outreach and education, putting resources together for businesses and HOAs. We're planning a really fun series of videos where I get behind the wheel of my car and drive around with people who can ask me all of their, we'll say there are no bad questions, but they're silly EV questions. And we just talk in the car, kind of like a la Jerry Springer's Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, if you've ever seen that series. Yes, thank you. Like, so close. I don't know how that happened. Thank you. Seinfeld, I haven't thought of the other Jerry in like probably 25 years. Okay, that's fun, Jess. Good job. And like I mentioned, then, continued support for the building community on codes and how they comply with the codes, rolling out, implementing this renewable energy program, and continuing another round of Solarize Summit. So lots to look forward to. For Energy Smart, this year, we have made really great progress. We've already blown past our energy assessment goal. We have done more than we told you all that we would do. And in fact, since I made the packet, we've done another retrofit project. So we're now at 7 out of 10 for 2021. So we just need 3 more through the end of the year. Average savings to date, folks are saving almost $500 a year on their projects, which is really excellent for all of these homeowners. So next year, we're hoping to do up our numbers of assessments up to 25, since that's what we hit this year, keep our project number at 10. We are looking to offer larger rebates. We did this in unincorporated Summit County this year, where we offered $1,000 rebates if people, $1,200 rebates if people bundled multiple projects together all at once. And it's been very successful. Not only have their energy savings increased, but their monetary energy bill savings have increased too. So we're hoping to roll that out to all of the communities across the county that we have this program in. And finally, we've been really increasing our communication and collaboration with Excel. So our local auditors are still going to start providing material, energy efficiency materials to customers when they're in the home that Excel Energy is providing. And then they're also going to help order materials the customer needs that Excel Energy will send directly to them at their home. So really happy with that partnership. For the Sustainable Business Program, again, we're having a bang up year. We've enrolled 8 new businesses in the program so far this year. We just need 2 more projects to meet our goal for the year. Saved 15 tons of greenhouse gases emissions through these projects so far. So next year, we're keeping our goal numbers the same. And similarly with the residential program, we're doing a lot more collaboration with Excel Energy so that they can provide energy consulting for every business that we work with. Sorry, talking to the mask is just, whew, getting out of breath. And then they'll be able to give information to every business about what rebates specifically do they qualify for, what savings can they expect if they make these energy efficiency improvements that Excel recommends. And they can provide really detailed guidance about what programs each business can qualify for. So we're excited about that too. We hosted 2 highly attended workshops for businesses this year, one about going solar for your business, and one just last week about EV charging for businesses and how businesses can install EV charging through Excel Energy's new programs, what sort of rebates are applicable for businesses and things like that. Had a lot of attendance. And so we are hoping that because of it, we inspire more businesses across the community to install charging, whether for their employees or their customers or both. So if you have questions about any of my programs, feel free to ask me, and then I'm going to kick it over to Jen. Yes, Mr. Inkin.
Just curious, because I know on the front side of the building codes, there was a bit of a rush to get qualified inspectors. How has that come along?
We now have within Summit County, let's see, there's Cody and Matt and Mark. There are 4 HERS raters in Summit County. And then there's another one who works who's in Eagle County. It's a company called North 39. So we have 5 HERS raters that we know of who are serving the community. Then of course, anyone could use someone else too. They could hire someone in the Front Range too. But yeah, 5 certified HERS raters in the county, and they're busy. Cody, my colleague, is working on 11 projects right now.
Wow.
He's been great. I've used him on. He's good.
Wonderful.
His turnaround time. He went through some iterations. So, very impressive. Answered any questions. Very helpful in terms of.
That's fabulous. Thank you for sharing that.
Question, just because I have everybody in the same room, who is the official contact to initiate, just because I'm kind of in this pipeline, initiate the town of Frisco solar credits?
Oh,
I have not been able to get a person.
okay.
Who did you?
Form that they sent to me and I sent to my tax guy.
Have you gotten your final invoice?
Oh, no.
Okay.
No, we saw it.
When you get your final invoice, you can send it to Hillary and Cheryl. Cheryl's been taking care of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's.
I'm assigning that. Cheryl told me that Hillary was going to take over.
All right, just looking for a contact.
Yeah. You could send it to me too, Dan, and I will make sure it gets in the hands of the right person. Yeah.
You said you're looking to make energy audits part of a short-term rental license.
Yeah.
Is that, I know I brought it up
Yeah.
as part of a real estate transaction, never even thought about it as a short-term rental license, which I like too.
Yeah.
Is that the way you're going as opposed to transactions?
I think it would be easier for us to control short-term rental license because, those applications come into the town. I think that would just be more streamlined to get started. But that doesn't mean we couldn't roll it out to real estate transactions in the future. No. That's what we analyzed when we did our little comparison of our strategies. I shouldn't say little.
The better it is. So
Yeah.
Whatever
Mhm.
direction it goes.
Yeah. Okay. Take it away, Jen. Hello. Nice to see y'all. Tony, we met briefly the other night at our event with my colleague Rachel. So nice to meet you. Yeah. So I have one slide. This is it, just to talk a little bit about waste diversion while we're here. And just to remind you all that the town does fund waste diversion and a little bit of water conservation through our Tame the Tap home audits through the grant program, through that $5,000 grant that we got last year and the year before. So thank you. As you know, our HC3's primary source of funding for waste diversion programs is Summit County government. But I know they and we appreciate the towns and Frisco and Breck especially kicking in money for recycling. So I don't know if any of you have seen us, but we have been over at the Frisco drop site 5 times this summer. We're talking to people. We're over there in 2-hour increments. We are also going to the Breck site and the Silverthorne site. Whenever we are over there, we either have staff or interns. We get a plethora of questions. We really feel like there's a lot of very positive interactions that are going on. We've been doing that for a couple of years, but we've ramped it up even more this year than we've done in the past. And we've had some great interns this summer. We, through our ResourceWise business program, but also outside of that, we have worked with 9 local businesses on helping them divert waste, whether that's composting, adding glass collection, things like that. We had a grant from the state of Colorado that just expired. So we've been able to help people buy them bins, do on-site walkthroughs and provide technical assistance and help them out. We have also, this stat on here says 311 Frisco residents have registered for our local food scrap program. So that's the program where I think some of you are enrolled, but as a resident of Summit County, you enroll in the program for free, and then it's funded from Strong Future because there are hauling costs with Timberline or Summit Roll-Offs picking it up. But you take your food scraps over to the drop sites, Frisco, Breck, or Silverthorne, and there are 2,000 residents across the entire community in that program. So I think so far this year, we have diverted 150,000 pounds of food just year to date through that program across the board. And 300 of those folks are Frisco residents. So it's been a huge success story with the Strong Future funding. And then again, the business side, there's 9 businesses and a number of businesses across Summit County. We've gotten businesses composting, obviously a restaurant composting. They are putting a lot of food waste into our compost program, and that's where the real opportunity lies. And the ski areas are our biggest participants in that program, and Whole Foods. Another thing we're doing that you may or may not have heard about, I can't remember if I talked to you about this in January-ish when we presented, is something called Oops Tags. And so we are working with Timberline and Waste Management. We are going around on the same routes that they're doing within Frisco and also throughout Summit County. So when recycling is set out on the curb on a pickup day, we're going around and we're doing a visual inspection of that recycling just to take a quick look on the top and see how it looks. And then we have these little 4x9 tags. Some of you may have gotten them. Has anyone seen one? No. I know a lot of us take our recycling to the drop site, but for those people who put it out on the curb, it's basically a little tag. If they're doing a great job, it's literally like a little green check mark. And we say, awesome, you rock, keep doing what you're doing. If we see glass in the recycling that isn't allowed in single stream, or plastic bags or something else, we take our little pen, we circle the thing on there and we write them a nice little note. And it literally says like, oops, recycle more of these things. This is what we want, cans, plastic, and so on. Please, please watch the plastic bags. So then we go in and we do that in July. We started this program in 2020, but we've expanded it this year. So we've just done our July and August summer runs. Then we go back in September and we do it again. And what we found last year is that 40% of the homes where we were doing this the second time around had improved their recycling. And again, it's just a visual inspection, but we know from data across the country and from working with Waste Management nationally that this is a proven strategy that works. And so again, that's funded with Strong Future. So you may see one along the way at your house. We're not doing it businesses, just residential. We've also presented over at the Fun Club, done some recycling activities, and at the Peak School. And then finally, our pay-as-you-throw stakeholder process. I think I mentioned that early in the year. We are officially kicking that off. We have hired a consultant named Lori Batchelder Adams and her team. She has worked in this community and across the state and internationally. She has a wealth of knowledge.
We are starting that process next Wednesday on September 1st. Melissa Sherburne will be your council representative in that stakeholder process. Hillary, lucky Hillary, welcome to a very complicated stakeholder process. But Hillary and I are sitting down tomorrow and we're going to talk about the ordinances that we're proposing. We believe the stakeholder process will take roughly, it'll be about 5 meetings that will again start next week and go through the spring of next year. It is our goal to have ordinances in front of you, 2 separate ordinances in spring of 2022. We will absolutely, and I know Melissa will be a great liaison as well, but we will be in front of council with or without our consultant to explain exactly what we're talking about in these ordinances and what we're proposing before we do much of anything. We're just hoping to get a little bit more stakeholder input. So all the towns are involved, the waste haulers like Waste Management Timberline, ski areas, small business, we have a resident, we have a Spanish speaker. So all in all, we have about 30 stakeholders. And so I'm happy to field any question. Andy and I met one-on-one about this, but I'm happy to meet with any of you one-on-one to explain what this is. But I think we all know we have to implement some policies to go along with all of our education and outreach to really increase our landfill diversion rate, because that's going to be our next step. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I don't know if you guys can see me.
Hey, hi Melissa.
Hey, great job, Jen. You guys just do amazing work and we couldn't do it without you. I'm really excited about the EV stuff that you guys are doing. That's huge for the community, getting the dealers up here. That's awesome. I can't wait for that. One question I have for you. So I just got back from what feels like my daily trip to Whole Foods. And, you know, one thing that I believe is not just our problem, but, you know, throughout our country is just the clamshells and not being able to recycle those. Another one locally is just the use of plastic water bottles. When I see people in the store buying plastic water bottles, I sort of fret that they don't realize how great the drinking water is here, just out of the tap. So I was wondering, what can we do, or what are you doing to encourage stores to produce less of the non-recyclable waste? And I know you can recycle the water bottles, but to avoid it in the first place, educating consumers like, hey, before you buy that, you can't recycle it. Or hey, before you buy that, the water is great here, stuff like that. Do you see any opportunity to do that locally?
I do see opportunities. I think this came up last, especially on the water bottle side. The clamshell side, I have not heard of any good solutions for clamshells. And unfortunately, I'm still seeing, you know, I just see that as packet. I'm not seeing strawberries and blueberries coming in anything else. I will say at the state level, and this does relate to recycling in general. At the state, Recycle Colorado, who's the trade organization for recycling in the state, and you know, there's tons of members, including large companies, and you know, all the way down to local governments and entities like HC3. There's something called Extended Producer Responsibility, or EPR. Actually, my colleague Lisa wrote a really nice Eartha Stewart article 2 weeks ago in the Summit Daily that explains what EPR, or Extended Producer Responsibility, is. Mm-hmm. But let me give you an example. A great example would be over in Europe, when you buy a computer, if you buy a Dell computer or any computer in Europe, you're going to pay a little bit extra fee on that. And then at the end of the computer's life, you're going to send that back to Dell and they're going to recycle it for you because you will have paid for it up front. In the state of Colorado, we actually have a system like that right now for paint. So when you go to Sherwin-Williams and buy your can of paint, and I think the amount is in the article now, I don't remember what it was, but whatever, 50 cents a can or something, whatever that amount is, paint is then, you can now recycle paint for free. So you can take it, it doesn't matter that Summit County has all these programs. Anywhere in the state of Colorado, you can recycle that paint for free because you're paying for it up front. So honestly, Melissa, I feel like some of these things have to happen with like the clamshells and the plastic water bottles. I feel like they have to happen at a higher level than the local level. I do believe with the new legislation that went through the state, that the town of Frisco or other municipalities could adopt a ban on something, like plastic bags. That would apply to plastic water bottles. So I don't know if there's any desire to do something like that on the policy side. I'm certainly open to working with Hillary on an education campaign for people coming to Summit County and buying plastic water bottles. But we are not currently doing anything, but
Okay.
certainly open to discussing. Yeah.
I'm curious how we can push the conversation every chance we get. And so if you
No,
see
I-
opportunities, let us know.
I agree. Absolutely.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about how involved you guys were, or to what degree you monitored the success of, the potential to replicate the Rotary program, where they induced businesses to collect a lot of business plastic wrap. I was at the Sunshine Cafe, and Mike Spry showed me his barrel in the back, and the rate at which they were accumulating plastic wrap was phenomenal. And it seemed like that was such a great way to raise awareness, and it seemed like there was real esprit de corps, at least in that establishment, about it, and some excitement about finally being able to positively address that particular problem. And there's so many, and I know that's fraught with challenges. But did you were you able to monitor that, or plug back in and kind of see how that ended up? Or
I know that they, I was talking to someone at an HE3 event, a donor of ours the other night, who told me that they did, I think they accumulated 500 pounds. And if you get 500 pounds in a certain period of time, a month or something, then you get a bench for the community. So I think it's a fantastic program. I know Rotary approached us about partnering on something a little bit different than that. And then they ultimately found that Trex program, because it's going to Trex and getting made into the plastic benches. So I think it's a fantastic program. I think it's a great example of something that is supplemental to everything that HC3 and Summit County government are doing. I remember, Dan, you and I have had this conversation about plastic film, which is just the plastic bag, stretchy stuff, and how challenging that is to recycle. Frankly, in the traditional recycling world, no one really wants that unless you're collecting it at scale, like City Market, and that's the partner that the Rotary is working with. Unless you're collecting it, a lot of it, and you can keep it dry and out of the sun, which Summit County government just doesn't have a way to do. They don't have space up at the scrap to do it. So we haven't found a solution in our traditional way. So I think this supplemental program that the Rotary is doing, if there are opportunities to add more of those throughout the community, I think that would be fantastic.
seemed like a plastic wrap at an elementary school, or the same kind of thing, and a great opportunity to introduce to people exactly what those challenges are, and at the same time, maybe positive, find a more positive way to address that. So create maybe it'll start to move towards creating that scale. But I think to raise awareness and frankly, at some level, just even if at the end of the day, it's deck chair off the Titanic stuff, it does give people hope that something's going on. Because that's, when people I talk to with regards to that particular product is just that, but there's the proliferation is massive and nothing is happening. So even if the thing that is happening is still somewhat inconsequential, it seems like that model, a great template to bring to other small, you guys could introduce, here's the parameters, here's the program, you guys do it, here's your, good for you. And it all does is help raise awareness and help maybe change just enough those buying habits, but people see the amount.
Thing is, sorry, it is the deck chair on the Titanic. So, that is the one negative about that program. Honestly, at 4:30 this afternoon, I got a phone call from a town staffer who was interested in expanding that exact program. And that's the conversation we were having is,
If you can use that person, that'd be great.
is that people need to buy less plastic. It's kind of like what Melissa and I were, what she was just talking about. That's what really needs to happen. But I agree, it is doing something. I think for a town like Frisco or an organization who's already doing everything they can possibly be doing, if we are, I don't know, we're all doing our best, right? then sure, an add-on program like this, it's fantastic. It's cool. You get a bench. However, plastic film, really the only thing it's good for is something like that Trex decking. And once you take that Trex decking, okay, it's keeping it out of the landfill temporarily, right? Because then you're making Trex decking. We call that getting downcycled. And by the way, all plastic is downcycled. I mean, aluminum and glass are things that are infinitely recyclable. You know, you can keep making the same product. Any sort of plastic, it's getting downgraded. And so, great. I was standing outside looking at my deck when I was talking to this town staffer, and I'm like, well, I mean, it's cool. My deck is here, but in 20 years, it's still going to the landfill. So Trex is a fantastic company. They're doing the right thing. I love the program, but I would just encourage, you know, if we have a limited amount of focus, we need to stay focused on the big picture, right? Which is climate action. Our world is on fire. And these highly recyclable items like aluminum cans and glass. So I think it's a great supplemental program, but not at the expense of these really big picture things like reducing energy consumption and recycling high value items and buying less.
Make the point, appreciate that.
Couple questions. When you guys do the kind of the monitor, you're doing your day out at the recycling center. What's the biggest mistake you see?
Oh gosh, I am not the best person to answer that question because honestly, I am not out there. So I feel like I would just be guessing, but I would happy to
I'd be
include.
curious.
Yeah,
The other one, and I just want to reiterate, I mean, the composting is great, but just any chance to say that it's not about saving landfill space. Doing composting is about reducing CO2 in the air, right?
all of the
I'm more
above.
But the priority reason, if you live in a community that has unlimited landfill space, it's important to be composting
Yes,
because
it reduces
composting
methane.
breaking down in the landfill creates a completely toxic issue that we can. So
Yeah, no, that's absolutely correct. Like you're saying, organics breaking down anaerobically with no oxygen creates methane 28 times more potent than CO2, which I know that you know, I know you know that. Yeah.
But the bigger question, we've got $1 trillion coming down the pike in stimulus. We've got $3.5 trillion coming down from Washington, maybe, however, all that's happening. What are you guys doing to capitalize on that opportunity in thinking bigger, creating shovel-ready projects as it would be if it's a road project? But
Right.
what are you guys doing to capitalize on that moment?
Yeah, I think we need to get more hands mostly in terms of rebates into the hands of residents and businesses to actually take action, you know, so bigger rebates. I think we're working on this policy locally, this renewable energy program. But I know Jess has had a lot of conversations with Gilly and Michael Wurzel, like all the sustainability folks have been talking about this exact thing. So I don't know. Do you have anything specific to add to that? Anything different?
We've talked with, had a conversation with the Colorado Energy Office a few weeks ago, and the director, Will Torr, was on that call, and they were asking communities across the state, but in particular, I was on a call with mountain communities, like what do we need? And we told them, the big thing we asked for was training for contractors on heat pumps so that people understand what heat pumps are, understand how to install them cost effectively. And then also from the state, really, big rebates to help people electrify their homes. So that was kind of one of the number one things that we identified for the state. So if they get stimulus funding, how could they pass it through to us?
So I was fortunate to interact with your staff at least 3 of those 5 days.
Oh.
And I can tell you, at least in the spring, when we were planting flowers, I was corrected, which was cool, that the pods that come in, they're not recyclable. So that was good to find out. And then my 3rd interaction with them was awesome. Colleen was out of town I was talking to the team and they gave me a new scraps bin. And I brought it home, put it by our old little trash can that we have. And Colleen was overjoyed that I got it because she wasn't able to make it over to the office to pick one up. So it's working.
Thank you. Love it. All right, all good.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much for your support and leadership. We appreciate it.
Great. And that is our only work session item this evening. So we are going to break for dinner until 7 p.m. And until then, enjoy our easy listening music with a Welcome to Frisco screensaver. And I think I might, let me see if I have it in my email. I'll forward it to you. I haven't gotten mine yet. I forgot. I paid my freaking taxes and now I had to refile.
This isn't even the federal stuff. This is just.
Oh, that was easy. That was easy. That's a board
For who?
Just it wasn't Gilly. I told him.
Or where does get a box for that? Bottle that for box. I've been putting this in but my point is, I'd love to help. Not as part of this, but where this is. Hey, is a head carton, the paper egg carton recyclable, or so, which of those are? Because I was looking at them like, I'm sure. I would love more detail, so a little picture. So you get a box with that, is it piece of paper or is it cardboard? I said, cardboard, worst case, downgrade to cardboard recycle. Anyway, that was, when I saw you guys, I grabbed mine, because it sits right by my door to the house, in the garage with my 6 bins that are all labeled, type 1, plastic, type 2, I look at everything, and the whole thing, and the long. What's the next? So I don't know what that partner was, I just really, but the other people I look, not like this, but this is beautiful. Great. Other items, so if you're thinking about it, what's it, like he says, the flower, I know the look for that. Or like,
Just so you know. Oh, yes, right, like, for class section.
I didn't know which side it is. Okay. I downloaded, printed it my own. Okay.
I would say, let me know.
That's why I said I like this. Because I'm, where I was struggling, do I put a yeah. I researched and I figured out and I learned, but when I'm doing it, the first time I'm like, no, I get my actual knife out, carve out piece of plastic, or that was it. So. So if you can look at those bills, and tell you like, we could go advocate for it. You know what? They have
Yeah.
Okay. Look forward to it.
Oh. We'll resume at 7.
you rather have it be a yo-yo night or chicken avocado wraps?
We have enough food for yo-yo. We got Chinese. I could eat. What do you want to eat?
There's not last night. Leftovers,
What were last night's leftovers? Oh, yeah. Yeah, let's see. You want Chinese?
No, just gonna.
You sure? Would you rather chicken avocado? Yeah, then I'm gonna take a shower. And I'll be back.
Hey, everybody, it is 7:03 and we're back from dinner and we're going to start the regular meeting of the Frisco Town Council. And at this time, we'll start with council comments. I've got a few. I wanted to get on record that we are looking to close the promenade on September 12th and start the breakdown on September 13th. And then I also wanted to say we're on and off and driving around the peninsula all summer long, and it has been bustling out there. It's looked like everyone's having so much fun. I wanted to say thank you for really great work that Pete, Lindsay, and Grant have been doing out there. In one weekend, they had Run the Rockies, a volleyball tournament, the skate park's been popping, as the kids say, and the bike park, my son and I are over there a couple of days a week. It's been great, and thanks for the great work, Diane. Keep it up. And then lastly, I wanted to say, heal well and rapid recovery to John Kremelmeyer, a school teacher and former council member. And just keep them in your thoughts moving forward. And with that, those are my comments. Anyone else?
I would like to give a shout out. It's obviously the end of summer. And as you were saying that, I just want to give a shout out to all of the camp counselors, the instructors. Both my kids attended Frisco camps this summer, and they just did such an amazing job. And so many families are so grateful. So Diana, if you could pass that along to the crew and Tony, we're so lucky to have them, and they made summer fun for so many kids and sane for parents. So thanks so much.
And we'll close council comments. Oh, Joe, please.
Chief, I want to thank you for adding the letter to Officer Plaza or about Officer Plaza in the package. Just the fact that somebody went out of their way to write that letter. I just want him to know that we read it.
Anyone? Great. That's council comments, and now we're open for public comments. If you have something for public comment, please state your name and your address for the record, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Robert Franken. I live at 101 East Main Street, Unit 204, right across the street. I appreciate having an opportunity to come to you. I want to start off by saying that great leaders make decisions with imperfect information. I think that is what happened at the marina this year. I'm a boat owner. And yes, I'd prefer my dock to be right where it usually is. But I have watched a marina staff that has worked their butts off. I've watched a marina staff that cares. I've seen kids with great attitudes shuttle me from shore to my boat. I've seen Luis and Jen work their butts off. And I know that there have been a lot of things said here, but I think that you also need to hear that they work hard. Diane's got a great operation there, and it's a critical component to the town of Frisco. It is the end of Main Street. And thinking of doing anything other than making it the best operation that Frisco has would be a mistake. It's essential Frisco. And I worry that people that say things loudly get more airtime than people who are just pleased with the service that they get. And I think it's critical for you to hear that although all of us would like our docks where they should be, The decisions that were made based on the information of the day. And that's a critical piece to this. And leaders have to make those decisions. You make those decisions. Every day that you sit here in this council chamber, you make decisions with imperfect information, and sometimes you have more information and sometimes you have less. But you still have to make decisions. So my encouragement to you is we should tie the marina closer to the town, not further away from the town. We should make the marina the blazing end of our main street, because that's what it really is. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the work each one of you does and the time and effort you put into this. I understand some of that because I serve on the planning commission on your behalf. But I appreciate what you do and some of the harassment you get for what you do. So that's all I have to say. I'm sure willing to answer any questions if you have any.
We don't have any questions, but thank you very much for those comments. Any other public comment this evening? Anyone online?
I do not see any raised hands at this time.
Okay. Seeing no other public comment, we'll close public comment and move on to the agenda for the evening. And our first item is going to be the consent agenda. Second.
Mr. Mayor, second. Mayor.
Substitute. Thank you. I was going to say, yeah, no. Yeah, Rick. The motion's been made and second. Please call the question.
Mortensen, absent. Aronson,
Yes.
Burley, absent. Fallon, Held, absent. Incan,
Yes.
Sherburne.
Yes.
Thank you.
That was our first item. Our second item is going to be old business, which is going to be. Get my glasses.
The record, please.
You got it. Our
Thank
second,
you.
our first item is going to be old business, which is going to be a second reading of ordinance 21-10, an ordinance amending chapter 65 of the Code of Ordinances of the town of Frisco, Colorado, concerning building construction and housing standards. By amending section 65-4 concerning amendments to the International Fire Code, the IFC, and amending provisions of the IFC concerning standards and procedures related to open fires and recreational fires. Rick.
Okay, good evening, council. As stated, this is second reading of ordinance 21-10, an ordinance to amend the 2018 International Fire Code. And those amendments relate to the requirements for open fires and recreational fires. And essentially, they will take the town out of the year-round perpetual fire restriction and allow the fire districts to continue to monitor fire danger, while at the same time continuing the requirements for recreational fires that they be permitted and get a permit through the fire district. First reading of this ordinance passed on August 10th, and staff recommends similarly to that the council approve second reading tonight. And I am available for any questions.
Any questions, Melissa? No questions.
I move that we approve ordinance 21-10.
May we accept public comment first?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Is anyone wanting to make any public comment on the ordinance this evening? No one online? Seeing no public comment, no council comment. We'll entertain a motion.
2110 as stated.
Second. Jordan's been moved and seconded.
Aronson.
Yes.
Burley, absent. Fallon.
Yes.
Held, absent. Incan.
Yes.
Sherburne.
Yes.
Mortensen, absent.
All right. That is our agenda for this evening, and the motion has been passed and approved. Thanks.
Thank
And
you,
with
Council.
that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Let's adjourn.
Everyone.
Hey, 100.
Maybe a coup, put Rick in charge, you know? I'd like about a 7-minute meeting.
Hunter's meetings are usually 4 or 5 hours.
Dual swallow. Out there right now, just for like 3 races, 2 races, 4 races. It was freaking awesome. There were 100 of us or less out there. Everyone's having fun. It was really cool. I don't know if it would fit, and that's all on them going forward with it, but I might mention it to JW. They can fit you in.